Good morning to our viewers in Asia and hello to others watching from around the world. Welcome to ARIRANG News Break. I'm Han in Seoul. President Park Geun-hye has expressed her hope to meet with the leaders of Korea's three main political parties following her trip to Iran next week. The parties have responded relatively positively to the proposal. We begin with political correspondent Park Ji-won.
The ruling Saenuri party, still leaking its wounds following its defeat in the general election, has welcomed the president's move, saying there has to be a concerted effort from the government and the National Assembly to press on amid the security crisis and economic slowdown. The interim leader of the main opposition Minju Party of Korea, Kim Jong-in, was more cautious, saying his party would consider the idea once President Park officially calls a four-way meeting. The minor opposition People's Party says it will positively examine the meeting when the president's office makes an official proposal. The party said it's always ready to talk and cooperate to improve the people's livelihoods, but stressed the meeting needs to focus on producing tangible results. At a meeting with the head editors of Korea's news networks on Tuesday, President Park said she wanted to meet with the political leaders after she returns from her four-day trip to Iran early next week. It appears the meeting, if confirmed, will take place in early May or mid-May. Park Ji-won, ARIRANG News.
North Korea has announced that its 7th ruling Workers' Party Congress will be held on Friday, May 6th in Pyongyang. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is expected to lay out his plan to continue the so-called Pyeongjin policy, the policy of simultaneous nuclear and economic development. North Korea has been mobilizing its citizens to prepare for the rare Congress that'll be held for the first time in 36 years. The event is expected to be a mostly domestic event, with few foreign guests attending, given the level of North Korea's isolation following its recent nuclear and missile provocations. U.S. President Barack Obama says the United States could destroy North Korea, but it's not doing so because of its proximity to South Korea. He said this is something that needs to be carefully considered. Park Jong-hong reports.
President Obama's words for North Korea were as stern as they could be. In an interview with CBS, Mr. Obama said the U.S. could destroy North Korea with its arsenals, but that its close proximity to ally South Korea should be considered, in addition to the subsequent humanitarian costs. He also mentioned some of the difficulties in handling the regime, referring to Pyongyang as, quote, a massive challenge. The top U.S. priority, he said, is to protect the American people and South Korea and Japan, saying those countries are, quote, vulnerable to the provocative actions that North Korea is engaging in. Obama noted that the U.S. was spending a lot more time positioning its missile development systems to set up a shield, quote, that can at least block the relatively low-level threats posed by North Korea. The remarks came as U.S. State Department spokesman Mark Toner urged North Korea to refrain from actions that destabilize the region. He said Washington would consider, quote, other options if Pyongyang continued nuclear and missile testing, stopping short of elaborating on the alternatives. Against this backdrop, sources in Washington cite the possibility of even harsher measures that ramp up the pressure against North Korea. Park Jong-hong, ARIRANG News.
Korea's consumer sentiment improved for a second straight month in April. The Bank of Korea says the index came in at 101 this month, up a single point from a month earlier. The slight improvement is mainly attributed to the recent rise in the local stock market and robust automobile sales. The index had been on a downward streak since December last year, but rebounded in March. A reading above 100 means optimists outnumber pessimists. Some bad news for the world's most profitable company. Apple has seen its quarterly profits fall and its revenue drop for the first time since 2003 as its iPhone sales fell for the first time ever. Apple says revenue dropped 13% from a year earlier to around $50.5 billion in its second fiscal quarter. Falling iPhone sales were identified as the main reason for the decline. Apple sold slightly over 51 million iPhones during the quarter, down 9.9 million units from the same period last year. Analysts say Apple failed to garner as much enthusiasm from consumers compared to when it first sold its big screen models in 2014. It was another Super Tuesday in the United States. Voters across 5 states, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Connecticut, Delaware, and Rhode Island, cast their ballots for the primaries that could tell which candidates are closer to the presidential nomination finish line. According to early exit polls done by U.S. broadcasters, including CNN and ABC News, Republican frontrunner Donald Trump swept all 5 states. Despite the controversy surrounding him, the real estate mogul has not lost steam and looks very close to clinching the GOP nomination. On the other side, Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton has won Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware so far. We're still waiting for results to come from 2 more states on the Democratic side, and we'll have more updates on that in our next newscast. And that's all for now from all of us here at ARIRANG. Thank you for watching.